Assassin's Creed Shadows release day is finally upon us, and things are not going very good for Ubisoft. Japan's government has come out talking about how they're worried that imitation attacks based on this game could happen. We now have Ubisoft actually rolling out a day one patch that removes the ability to deface Japanese religious sites after this blowback, and the numbers are not looking too hot on Steam. But before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, it's release day, so it might be a little while until we actually see all of the numbers on Steam. It's going to be a couple of days until the weekend's over to see if those actually get pumped up, if they hit the heights of games like Dragon Age the Vanguard, because right now it's about half of that. But there are a lot of different things that have happened just over the past day, and none of them are really good for Ubisoft. So first of all, we have this situation that talks about the Japanese government. It says Japan's government is worried about imitation attacks based on this game. Japan's government recently convened to discuss a series of topics in a diet, one of which was the recent controversy surrounding Shadows. It says in a recent discussion, Japan's prime minister voiced a strict response to these concerns, answering points raised by other party members suggesting that imitation attacks could occur in real life. What I find most funny about this situation is the fact that there were people on social media saying, oh, Japanese gamers are not upset over this title. You guys in the West are just blowing this out of proportion and you're the only ones who are offended. But clearly, the Japanese prime minister would not be coming out and discussing this if there were not a lot of concerns about it from their citizens. It says, though, I'd like to ask about the Assassin's Creed issue. In the game, the samurai protagonist smashes drums, sacred mirrors, and altars inside the worship hall of a shrine that appears under its real name. He slashes at people who appear to be priests, shoot arrows, and engages in other violent mayhem. And it says, the Prime Minister responded with, it is absolutely unacceptable to graffiti a shrine. It is nothing but an insult to the country. It is natural to have respect for the culture and religion of a country, and I think it is important to send out the message that we will not tolerate any behavior that does not respect the culture and religion of a country, and we will not tolerate it, which I totally agree with. Obviously, I don't think that there were going to be people who were specifically going to see this action happen in the game and then decide to do it themselves. Over the years, there definitely has been a lot of fear when it's come to video games potentially causing real-world violence, and judging by all of the research that's been put out, there isn't enough of a scientific link there to say that that would happen without a shadow of a doubt in this case. But I understand why they are especially worried, because it is a place of worship. It is not just, I don't know, a random building. It's not like it's just a random location. It is a very specific and notable location. So they're just worried, and they are making this statement that it will not be tolerated if you try to do something. But Ubisoft has actually responded to this by rolling out a day one patch that removes the ability to deface the Japanese religious sites after blowback from the government. The patch, which Ubisoft has chosen not to highlight in its official patch notes beyond a brief acknowledgement, alters shrine interactions so that key objects like tables, racks, and altars can no longer be destroyed. This follows public concern raised by Japanese politicians Hiroyuki Kada, who criticized preview footage showing players damaging shrine interiors. Now, I don't think that Ubisoft should be altering this game, or if they are going to, they should make it kind of a bigger deal. They should highlight it more to tell people that this has happened, because this is self-censorship. Now, I get on one hand, they are trying to quell the worries of Japanese officials because they don't want the game to be banned in Japan. Now, a lot of games actually get banned in Japan. It's relatively easy for a game to get banned there, so it wouldn't shock me if they still went ahead and banned the game, but clearly Ubisoft's trying to make it so that does not happen. Though, on the flip side, this one alteration does not make up for the countless other problems within this game. So just because they have decided to alter this one thing in the game doesn't mean that they have decided to alter the Chinese architecture or the depiction of Yasuke or all of the non-binary and LGBT romances. Like, there are still so many other problems with this game that I don't necessarily think that changing this one thing is really going to make them look any better to a lot of people. But we also now have the release number. So, of course, we are talking about a release day on a Thursday. So it's Thursday afternoon right now, and I'm sure over the weekend the numbers are going to get much higher. I would assume, if things go well for them, that this game will hit like 100,000, which, hey, I wouldn't necessarily consider good, being that it's Ubisoft and it's Assassin's Creed, and they've put probably $100 million into marketing this game. They've even had billboards for this game, but 100K would be better than the 39,000 people they have in game at this point in time. So the all-time peak was 3 hours ago at 41,412, and they actually accidentally released this game early. It was released 4 hours early on Steam yesterday. So we're also talking about that time frame being added to this number, but this is just still not very good. I mean, even if we look at something that was an epic failure like Veilguard, that got 89,418 people for its all-time peak. So it will be fascinating to see how this game actually does over the weekend. Now, it's just not looking like the best situation for them at this point in time. And I would be curious to see if we get any numbers from them, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, if they talk about console numbers versus PC numbers, and if one platform sold better. I don't think that they're going to do that, because companies do like to boast when games do very well, but not when they only do okay or just barely meet their expectations. But there's just a lot of very bad news surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows at this point in time, and I just don't see a way that they could make this any better in a very easy way. It's like with all of the delays that we saw, we were all telling Ubisoft, you guys have to delay this game for, like, I don't know, another year. You really need to let this cook in the oven for a bit longer. You need to try to fix the architecture. You need to try to remove small things like the banners, for example. And they did that, but we know it's not removed from the art book. You need to try to actually hire people who maybe can fix the situation, but I don't know how they were going to do that. They would have to completely scrap this game, I think. Now, I will be streaming this tonight when I'm uploading this video at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be starting my playthrough. I'll be streaming a whole playthrough because I've talked about the game a lot on the channel. I think that it's only fair I give it a shot. Maybe I'll end up loving it. Maybe it'll end up being fantastic. But as of right now, things are looking pretty bad for Ubisoft. They have rolled out this day one patch that removes the ability to deface Japanese religious sites after blowback from the government, and the Steam numbers for launch day are not looking super positive at this point in time. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.